Hello, my name is Waylon. Haven't done a live on YouTube here for a little while. Um, a lot of us are always going through chaos and change, loss. Um, and when times are good, we sometimes, not always, but we often take those times for granted. So I wanted to talk today briefly from a personal point of view, but also the Buddhist tradition on how to work with chaos, how to work with change, how to work with loss, how to have gratitude for what is working well, even during those times, but always. And then how to approach a life altering, life changing decision. I have one today. You may have one. So, first of all, our egos want things to be solid and safe and perfect. That's not a bad thing. Ego isn't evil, but it's not a helpful thing and it can result in some evil. What we do when we don't want change or we don't want a threat to our safe, happy hearts, we sometimes push away anything challenging, anything scary, anything confusing. We, when change happens against our will, say someone passes away, or we go through a breakup or a job loss, or um, the plumbing breaks in the bathroom, whatever it is, big or small, change that we don't want, loss, when things fall apart. There's a whole book on it, on this. By Pema Chodron, who's a far better teacher than I will ever be. I'm a student, but sometimes it's helpful to talk with and hear from students. Um, we view that as a bad thing. So we push away any threats to our vulnerability. We view loss as a bad thing. So, how can we flip that around? A big part of it is taking a breath, not getting all caught up in our fear and our head, and just um, being willing to regard um, the ups and downs of life as this is how life is. I have been doing a lot lately. I do a couple things. I have an article about it called, How to Deal with Everyday Depression, 10 tips. But these tips are super obvious, but we forget them when we need them. So here they are. Store them up for next time. They are: get outside. Don't be inside like I am right now. It's so easy to fall into depression, to solidify this stuff, to engage in negative habitual patterns, things that aren't helpful, things that aren't kind to ourselves. Maitri being kindness, the practice of being kind or caring with yourself is called Maitri in the Buddhist tradition, Maitri. And it's a practice, it's not just a philosophy. We can actually practice Maitri through meditation, through Tonglen, Buddhist meditation technique called Tonglen, where we actually practice breathing in the threatening, scary stuff, death in a way. We breathe out kindness, love, compassion to others. And we find our ego kind of unwinds. We untangle the knots of our tension and stress. Wouldn't it be nice to not be always stressed and anxious, but actually to engage with an open heart and bravery in that anxiety or stress? I'm in. So get outside, community, talking very genuinely, very openly with people who want to hear it, friends, community, whoever it is, just being willing to be vulnerable. I've been going around town saying, people say, "Hey, how are you, man?" They always think I'm good because I'm a fun loving guy. And I say, and I don't go into it. But at that point, they say, "Oh, you okay? What's going on?" They stop, and then maybe we do have an exchange that's helpful. Or, they keep going. All they wanted to do was just be like, "Hey, cool." But, you'd be amazed how many people will slow down and check in. Why is that so helpful? Gosh knows. But there's something about just being able to open up. We do practice that in Elephant Academy. Just being able to open up and write about things, that itself is cathartic. That itself is helpful. And you don't always expect it. But in opening up about my confusion, I can actually be helpful to you, the person who's fine. I might be going through tons of stuff. You're not. But we can be helpful to each other by being vulnerable. It's one lady who I really don't know that well said, "Thank you so much for being honest in your response to the 'how are you?'" And I didn't go into it initially, but then we wound up talking about our parents and, people getting old, not doing so well, whatever was going on that day. And it helped me. So it's this beautiful mutual thing. So communication, openness instead of cocoon, which again is an article on elephant, article in Shambhala, wonderful book that's worth reading. Cocoon, read that chapter in Shambhala, The Sacred Path of the Warrior by Trungpa Rinpoche. Meditation, meditating in the morning, meditating at night. Number 4, really just regarding change, loss, not as a surprise, is literally the first noble truth. Life is suffering. This stuff is part of life. And when we regard it as part of life, all living things will die. The only things that don't die are, say, McDonald's burgers that have enough preservatives they never change. Then they are less of a rude shock, and we can actually look in them and find beautiful things like carpe diem, like appreciating our parents' life or appreciating the lessons of, my dog died 6 months ago. So appreciating and loving him and taking time before I adopt a new dog, not rushing through things just to be nice to my emotions, but really daring to feel things. So we do in a couple months have Elephant Academy. When is it coming up? Elephant Academy. You can go to elephantjournal.com/academy, find out when it's actually coming up. It's not a couple months, it's like 1 month. In the fall, and we will write our hearts out. We will find our voice. We will do so in community. Um, this is not a sales pitch so much as an invitation. It's the best thing we get to do. It's fun. It's meaningful. It's hard. You actually have to show up, but we can say that about all of life. So I wanted to share some of that stuff. In terms of the major life decision, the altering decision, it's good to come at it from that open point of view, from not lapsing into or indulging in our habitual patterns, but being willing to feel and be open minded. Don't know mind, as they call it in Zen, is a powerful place to be willing to rest. If I'm willing to rest and don't know mind, I don't have to say it's good or bad or yes or no, but I'm still looking, feeling, discerning, talking with the community, being awake and vulnerable, then it'll naturally fall out. Things will naturally settle the way that they should, even if that's sad, even if it's a breakup, even if it's leaving a job, whatever big decision you have. It may not be the decision you wanted, but it will be made with consciousness. It will be made with intention. It will be made with clear seeing, which is in Buddhism kind of the same word as confidence, which I love. So confidence is born of clear seeing. You can confidently make that decision, even if it's sad. And ultimately, as all of us know, there's this silver lining that with loss and change, there often comes positive change, and it may not be the change we wanted or asked for, but it can be helpful. Sometimes these decisions are positive things. I've been using a lot of negative or scary examples, but it could be, should I take this job? Should I move to Seattle? Should I buy this bike? Should I, ask this person to marry me? Again, it's the same stuff, because negative stuff isn't negative. Positive stuff isn't positive per se. It's hopefully wholesome and natural. All of this is about just flowing with what is actually true. So with a big life decision, again, don't know mind, connecting with community, showing up in a vulnerable and honest way. And then before you know it, the path is laid out in front of you, which I write all the time, but I mean it. We don't actually have to figure everything out. We can kind of just show up and it will unfold for us. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going through that today. Major life decision. I'm resting and don't know mind. I've meditated, gone outside, nature. Uh, I've talked with dear friends. I've talked with people I barely know, like just being at a cafe. Uh, and I'm trying to approach it with like, what is best? What is best? Not just for me, for everyone involved. Um, and if you can rest in that, um, and breathe. Don't remember the breathing. Don't forget the breathing. I mean, um, we can get through this stuff, and we can get through it with flying colors. And it may not be, again, the life we expected, but it will be a life of meaning and wholesomeness. All right. I hope this was helpful, and big love to everyone. May it be of some benefit.